that was quite a trip, you know. I think I chewed up more than I bit off more more than I could chew. But finally, that 92-foot long load is delivered. So I spent the night, actually the whole weekend in Harbor Creek, Pennsylvania, at the TA truck stop. And we agreed with the pilot, because I still needed him to take me to the border, that he would show up around 7. And we checked the sunrise time, 7:15. And PA in New York only allow me daylight travel, basically no 30 minutes before, after, you know, like other states. And so we waited till 7:10, started rolling. By the time we hit the freeway, it was 7:15. Perfect. And I-90 going towards Buffalo was a piece of cake, you know, nothing difficult, no stoppings. And then we took exit 56 in New York to go on New York 179, which runs west to connect us with New York 5, which is also known as Skyway, like further down. Anyway, we take that one is okay. 179 was a big, long, wide ramp. And then we go on I-79, and my escort is really helpful because he can, you know, I keep telling him, you know, which side to block. Like I have to go super wide, so he's blocking the other side, right? And I think, yeah, when we were turning on 5, it was a bit tricky because there were cars from the opposite side, but, you know, I just found the proper, you know, moment, because I had to go all the way into the opposite you know, lanes where people are turning in onto this road on 179. But we made it, and so we are cruising on New York 5. You know, first it's lights, okay, the right shoulder is narrow, so I tell the escort, let's go to the middle, you know. And then eventually New York 5 becomes kind of like a freeway, or as they call them in Oklahoma, super 4-lane highway. Basically no divider, but it's 4 lanes. And then we see a divider, so it's like a freeway. And then we see our exit. The sign says I-190, and that's what I'm supposed to take. I checked my paperwork like 20 times. Yes, like we cannot go on I-190 straight from I-90. We have to take this 179 west and 5 north, and only then we can take you know, I-190 for some reason. I asked the pilot, because he's from that area, said, are you aware of any construction? He says, not really. So anyway, so we start taking that ramp, like New York 5 keeps going straight. On this ramp towards I-190, it's like one of those circular ramps, you know, like normally, right? But as soon as I come close to it, first of all, I have to go all the way to the left of this New York 5 to take that ramp, and then as soon as I come close to the actual ramp, I see that it's no good, you know, like there's Jersey barriers, those concrete barriers, probably up to my chest, and this thing gets more and more narrow as you go into the turn, you know. It actually has 2 lanes, and like if there's cars would be able to go even in pairs, you know, driving next to each other, but semi-truck, even with the regular trailer, would never make that. And my trailer, because these all 4 axles and nothing is turning except my 5th wheel, you know, I was keeping the truck as close as possible to the concrete barrier on my side, like you know, watching my driver's side left wheel. And when I saw that I was like 6 inches away, and I look in the mirror and the rear axles were still on their way to hit the barrier, I knew that I cannot make it. So I stopped, double checked again. No, like if I keep going, of course I can turn the truck, but then the wheels will, the trailer wheels will start hitting the barrier, you know. And I even went up on the bridge back to New York 5, and I looked down, and that turn actually becomes more and more, you know, sharper and sharper. And so if I was like a rookie, I would probably keep driving and let the trailer, brand new $600,000 machine, hit the push on the Jersey wall, and then of course what would happen is that Jersey wall will fall down, the rear wheels of the trailer will fall down, and they would have to call a fire department. But luckily it didn't come to that, because I saw there's no way this is gonna work. You know, you just need to, as the great man said, every man should know his limitations. And as soon as I saw where my front wheel was of the truck and where the rear wheels were, and I looked at the curve, I said, this is it. I told my escort, I said, we cannot make it. But there's traffic flying by, because this is like downtown Buffalo, you know. Okay, it was 10 a.m., not exactly, you know, rush hour, plus Buffalo is half dead anyway. So that helped us out a little bit, but I cannot back. So basically I cannot go forward. So the only way out is to back. And, you know, it's a freeway over there. Like, people are flying by. Some of them are trying to turn into the same lane as me. And this guy got a flag and got a safety jacket, and he's standing there waving them, you know, basically go around, because there was a Seneca Street they could have taken. And I looked at that one, there's like a T intersection. There's definitely, I cannot make it. So for me, I figured out the only way was to go back, and then go back on New York 5 and take the next entrance, which was a super big intersection, but there's like multiple, I think it had 4 lanes in each direction, you know. So anyway, we had to call the cops. That's what pilot says. He says, we have to call the cops. He says, I cannot just hold the traffic with one car only in the back. Something will happen, you know. So I called 911. I said, Captain Sergei. And I said, oh, Mr. Sergei. No, I'm joking. They did not, they had no clue who I was. They said, what's your emergency? Just like in the movies, you know. I said, well, I got an oversized load. I'm trying to take, you know, the ramp to I-190. I cannot make it. I will damage something. I have to back up, so we need police assistance. And they said, are you on already on the ramp to I-190, or are you on New York 5? And I said, well, I'm not sure how to describe this. I said, the front of my truck is on the ramp, but the rear is still on New York 5. And she says, well, because she says, I'm asking because if you're on the ramp to I-190, that's already federal police. I have to call state police. But if you're on New York 5, I can deal with local cops. And so I said, let's keep it simple. I said, I'm just barely 2 feet away from New York 5. And so 5 minutes later, some lady showed up in a Chevy SUV, you know, beefed up cop version. And we explained the problem. Oh, and by the time we're doing all this, some guy in a dump truck with a dump trailer showed up and parked behind me. And you know, my escort says, you cannot go there. Like, there's a truck blocking the ramp, right? And this guy says, well, I'm afraid to go on the city streets, because then they would give me a, you know, ticket. And so this guy stopped there, and we were all waiting for the cops to, you know, allow us to back up. And so then this lady shows up, and she says, when she assessed the situation, she says, she looked at her mirror and she says, I need backup. She says, there's 4 lanes of traffic. I cannot, even if I use your escort guy, she says it's too dangerous. We need another car. And then like 5 minutes later, another car showed up with a female deputy and a guy. And they blocked, I think they blocked like 3 lanes or 2 lanes. I think they left only 1 for people on the left. Anyway, it was like, it was a, you know, adventure. And of course now, they think their job is the difficult. Right now my job, because I was trying so hard to squeeze into the turn, like guys that know, the guys that are familiar with trucks, you would know that when you do it like that, when you squeeze in and you keep your left wheel all the way on the shoulder, you will know that it's very difficult to back out of that situation, you know? Because we're already going in, and so basically when you try to get out, either your truck, the rear of your truck tries to go into the barrier, or the front, or the trailer. But anyway, because I had the escort in the back and we were communicating on a super secret channel number 10, I figured because I was born on the 10th. The guy says, what channel do you want to use? I said, 10. Okay. And so he's telling me, like, he's moving his car. I see in the mirror, he's moving his car, he's backing with me, and he's moving his car right to left, you know, and he's watching. He says, you okay on the right? Hold on. All right, you okay on the left? You know, that's really helpful. And so I backed. I had to do a couple of pull-ups forward a couple of times, but eventually we managed to back out with this 92-foot-long rig. And then cops told us that, yeah, they said if we go straight on New York 5 and take the next exit, which was definitely not mine. Like, again, while we were waiting for the cops, I checked my route. That's what these smart people from New York Department of Transportation gave me. Like, on the permit it says length 95 feet. But of course they probably thought I had like a Jeep and a Stinger, you know, and those things, they steer, right? If I was 95 feet long, but I was, you know, like a heavy haul guy with a Jeep and a Stinger, I wouldn't have a problem at that ramp. I only had a problem because the front axle of that trailer was 60 feet away from the kingpin. 60 feet to axle 1. Now that one had 4 axles, right? So the rear axle, so basically you need 2 football fields to make a slight turn. I'm serious. So anyway, when we back out, the cops were following us with lights flashing. I felt like a super important human being, you know, and the cops told us, you know, they said, stay on the very right, and then you can turn left. And of course in the middle there's a sign, there's some kind of an island, and I'm telling you, my pilot, I said, I don't know. I think we might hit that sign in the middle there. But I took it a really super wide, pretty much went all the way straight, and then started turning at the very last moment, you know, started turning like this. Like, did an incredibly wide turn. And I look in the mirror, my trailer wheels are like 20 feet away from the sign. What? And the pilot says, you did it, you're good, let's go. And that's it. And then we went on I-190, and the only 2 weak spots were when we go on and off that Grand Island. There's very narrow bridges, but it's just easy. I tell the guy, hey, I'm going in the middle, and he says, yeah, that's the only way to go because there's no shoulders and there's 2 lanes. And I had my lights on, like my 4-way flashes, my rooftop light. And that's it. We did that, and then he left me when I was entering the U.S. side of the border, where all the U.S. customs is. And then I just drove slowly across and got stopped at the Canadian customs. There was an issue with my paperwork. Probably spent half an hour there trying to correct the mistake, like they wanted something corrected there. But anyway, we did it. And then on the way out, I stopped at the Bridge Authority. They gave me a big invoice. I think I have to pay like 120 bucks Canadian, around 80-90 bucks US, because I was oversized and they charge a fee to cross the bridge. And that's it. And then I stopped when I entered Canada and sent a message to the broker. I said, I'm in Canada. They let me go. Everything is good. And I called the customer. I said, ETA 2 hours in Oshawa. And I said, I looked at your location on Google Maps and satellite view, and that address that they gave me, I think I cannot make into that yard, you know. And the guy says, well, you might need to go to our south location. So I said, what do I do? I only have the address for this one. He says, okay, come just to this location that you have on your paperwork and stop there, go inside the office, and somebody will tell you what to do. Okay, that's what I did. I took that couple of, very sharp turns from the freeway, from 401, got to the office, parked, and actually they gave me a ride in their pickup truck to show me that location where they want me to drop. And that really helps, when they do that, when they show you the road, and the guy says, okay, so over here you stay like this, go right, here go left, because they deal with trucks all the time. And so yeah, then he took me back to my truck, and I followed him again, only this time I was driving my truck. And yeah, it was a very, you know, tricky turns in there. You have to go inside and go around the building and then pull forward and then back. But somehow we made it. Nobody was hurt. No freight, even no freight brokers were hurt, you know. I'm really surprised. And then they signed my paperwork, and I'm just sitting there. I just park on the side right there at the consignee, and I send everything by email to the broker. I send everything to my financial company. So they're gonna pay me tomorrow. So tomorrow Captain Sergei will be a rich boy, but of course I have to pay my friends that I borrowed money for fuel. Like, it's a long story. Don't get me started. But the ticket, I found a lawyer in the same town where the county courthouse is, where I got the ticket in Ohio. And he's saying that in his experience, I'll just have to pay the court fees. He says around $150, and then his fee will be around $300. So basically, these tickets are just BS, you know. Like, but if I was stupid, I would probably just write him a check or a money order and send it, you know. But I'm not doing that. That's just too much money, because that's that fine is my whole trailer payment in Canada, you know. So the guy just wants me to give him an equivalent of my monthly trailer payment. That's not going to happen. So thankfully we have lawyers, and so we have the greedy government. And if we only had that, that would be a bad system, right? But we also have greedy lawyers, and so we have lawyers, well, and truckers. So we have lawyers, truckers, and the government, and now everybody is wrestling each other, and somewhere, you know, justice appears in the middle, right? So thankfully, you know, but I'm kidding. It's not greedy lawyers. It's because lawyers only make money when they do something for us, for the consumer, most of the time, right? If you find a good lawyer. So anyway, that's it. So that's the update. And already some guy called me asking for a quote. He wants me to move a big oversized track over a huge crane. Just one track, like if you remember a few months ago I did one. But it was a short distance. Now this one is going 2,000 miles. And the guy says, how much would you need? So I gave him my number, said plus cost of permits. And the guy, okay, so you want this, and how much do you think the permits will cost? And I said, okay, well, let me check. And I go to this website where I signed up, but they want $50 a month. Like first month they give you a few free searches. You can search, you know, how much the permits will cost, but I used up my free searches. I don't want to pay $50, so I went back to that draft email. I said, okay, the permits will be probably around $1,000. But it was already the end of the day, so I don't know what the guy thinks. But so the plan for these next 3 days is, so as you can see, I'm at a hotel. So tomorrow I'm gonna drive my truck to Kenworth, because I booked an appointment for Wednesday, and I said I want you guys to replace the clutch under warranty, okay? Like, because we've tried to adjust it twice already. It's still very hard to shift when you stop at a light, you know, when the truck was just moving and you stop. So it's not the way a one-year-old truck should behave, you know. And then also tomorrow, so I'm gonna drop off it tomorrow, even though my appointment is for Wednesday, but I figured it's best if they have the truck before, you know, maybe they have some free guy, or they finish some job sooner, you never know. So I'm gonna drop off the truck tomorrow. And then also, if you remember, I bought those fancy tips for my Challenger, those double ones, like, you know, 2 on each side. So I have to drive tomorrow to Brampton, Ontario, and pick these tips. They were coming from California. And the guy emailed me last week. He says, we finally received your exhaust tips, you can pick them up. And they said Monday they're closed, so tomorrow is Tuesday, so I'm gonna drive over there and pick them up, and hopefully try to install them Tuesday or Wednesday, and then we'll do another video about the exhaust, because when we install these tips we'll have to cut off those race mufflers, right, which have been acting as resonators, and now we have Spintech, right? So now we'll only have Spintech and we'll have the tips, and so I'm pretty sure the sound will change, and probably performance will change a little bit too, and I'll do a video about that. And then what else do I have to do? Well, I need to replace that little electric cable, like approximately 1 foot long, a connector, which was causing a short on the lights. But that guy Mike at the Dansville, New York, at the TA, he cleaned it up. He says it will come back eventually. So eventually you'll have to change that connector, well, like a black cable with like female and male connectors. But he cleaned it up. I don't know. I haven't hooked up to my trailer in a while, so we're gonna see what happens when I hook up to it. But yeah, so Kenworth, new tips on the Dodge, and I have to send a check to the bridge. And then of course, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are the best days to look for new loads. And so if this guy with the track, 90,000 pound crane track, I love these loads. It's heavy, but it's like 6 foot tall, 6 foot wide. Why not, right? Just heavy, I said I have 8 axles, and so if this guy doesn't like my rate, I'll just try to find something. But the goal is to leave Canada again, maybe Thursday or Friday. I talked to the trailer guy in New Jersey, who's waiting for my flip box to come from Alabama, because I asked him, I said, I don't want to go to Alabama this time, just can you get it to New Jersey, right? And he's not charging me any money, but he says they're doing it in a very super cheap, slow speed way. And so he says, as far as he knows as of today, that flip box is still sitting in the plant in Alabama. So otherwise I would try to find a load going to New Jersey or just go there empty, but so no reason to do that. So now I can go anywhere. Just need to make some money, and hopefully the rates will go up, loads will appear, and Captain Sergei will have some money in the bank. Thanks for watching.